Good day, everyone. Let me share out this link and we'll get this live stream started. Hope you're all doing well. I've got to share it out in a few places here. First question, can we see 15K again? Anything's possible. All right. All right, so the first request is GMT. Let's take a look at that. This was this is from a members live stream this morning. I did a few altcoin requests. I thought this was maybe an interesting idea for a scalp on Blur, but I'm not trading Blur personally. All right. I'm going to go with a bunch of fresh analysis. I haven't looked at GMT in a while. Consolidating right at the point of control. Certainly one of the coins that's had hasn't had really a move. Just charting levels of interest. Certainly some pressure being put on price at the highs. But you could argue that we're seeing a breakout here as we consolidate around the point of control. An ideal entry for me on something like this would be if we could come down and take these lows. I might be interested in along there. Take the lows, reclaim them. You know, maybe it coincides with a back test of this trend line in 4 or 5 days. Could try a swing position off of that. Personally, I wouldn't randomly long without having like a clean setup. A sweep of these lows was maybe a nice setup, but that's already passed. certainly seems reasonable to target a sweep of these highs with a swing position. Could also trade this wider. I think the GMT chart's actually kind of interesting. I do have to keep an eye on ETH here, because I'm potentially interested in a scalp long if we can reclaim this, but otherwise waiting for the range lows to be swept. All right, we're going to blast through some of these. Let's go to OP. Nice bounce off the 786 on OP on the 4 hour. Just nice to get a context for what fibs are being interacted with. This swing failure might have been a nice setup as well. So this is something I talk about often. In fact, in the members live stream today, I challenged everybody to go pull the 786 on a bunch of alts and see how often the exact pivot high and pivot low of a move come in precisely on the 786. It is a very well-respected fib on the on alts. Even our high on ETH came exactly at the 786 today. So certainly a powerful fib for alts. I'm just kind of just looking at price. Obviously, we're in a range. The clean rejection from the 786, a clean bounce. This was a long idea. We came a little bit through the level I was watching, but if we could sweep these impulse lows and reclaim them. We have big bullish absorption on ETH. So I'm interested in a reclaim of this level. I guess I've gone over this quite a few times in the members group, so I don't really have to maybe update that position, what I'm looking for. Yeah, so levels of interest for me on OP, I would just look at this as a range. Might be nice to come down. Like long setups I like are coming down, sweeping some of these key lows with a nice reaction, can offer some nice tight invalidation longs. Short setups, you know, maybe coming up and retesting this high could be interesting. Maybe if you wanted to wait for a bigger sign of weakness, losing these highs. But yeah, pretty clearly defined range. I think personally, if I was to trade this, I'd just look to trade range lows, range highs. Certainly some great setups that have been missed on here if you were charting it. All right. Let's go through these. Kind of lost here. Please don't put your request in multiple times. I'm just going to try to work through this list. Oh. And if it's a coin that was just listed, there's not really going to be a lot of opportunities to do TA on it. I wonder if that was the POC. Yeah. This is where the most volume was traded. A nice reaction off there already. It's actually a decent amount of confluence that came in around there. Had a nice sweep of these lows. Would have been a kind of interesting long setup. Do have a untapped 786. Something like this, and then a reclaim of these lows would be an interesting long idea, I think. Of course, I'm just giving examples of things that I personally would be interested in trading. I always use risk management and invalidation. I don't recommend anyone takes trades off ideas they don't understand. If you're a new trader, just paper trade. There's no hurry to try to make money in the market. Lots of time to learn. Yeah, something like that would be interesting. Another idea would just be to wait for this kind of descending trend line consolidation and a potential breakout. Yeah, so I'm taking this long. We'll see. Maybe hit a TP1, come up and take these highs. But yeah, and maybe waiting for a break of this descending structure, you might find a setup. But I'd quite like a setup, the look of a setup where you come and sweep these lows and do a key fib. All right, let's go to RSR. Yeah, it looks like it's been a while since I've done TA on this. It's another example. A perfect bounce off the 786 on this alt. I can't overstate what a powerful fib that is. Wait, did I set my yeah. And then a rejection at this you know, we had a little local swing failure here at the golden pocket. So another nice potential short setup, certainly for a scalp. Oftentimes, you know, when we're charting these ideas, there's not necessarily going to be an idea present on the chart in the moment. A lot of trading is about setting up nice ideas and waiting. Quite curious. This is obviously why I love fibs and I use them. This rejection back in February. Right at the golden pocket from this pivot high. Look at all these perfect pivot highs and pivot lows coming in at the key fibs. Certainly a powerful idea. Even had a relatively clean ascending structure here. So maybe not perfect. Yeah, maybe on RSR, you know, we have impulsing through these highs again and swing failuring them could be interesting. We're in a strong uptrend. I mean, you can't always presume that major lows are going to be swept, but minor lows. I'll set alerts. There's always a chance that I'll update these ideas in the Discord. But an idea like this, sweeping these lows, reclaiming them, interesting into this key fib. And I'll say this, I'm just a technical trader, so I'm not going to look at an alt and tell you if I think it's going to go to the moon or not. Looking for nice levels. Obviously, we're in an uptrend here. Nice longs from support could make sense. We have a nice fib level front ran here, leaving some liquidity to sweep into it. Could offer a nice setup. So asking about ARB. Had this ascending channel on ARB. I did note in the Discord, just in the chat, that we were getting a rejection here, swing failure in these highs. It can be a short setup. It'd be similar to some of the things I've shared. Obviously a wide stop if you want to run it above there. But it's just a nice technical setup in a range. It's very similar to the structure we have on Bitcoin here. You impulse up through the range highs, lose them. I can offer a short setup. Getting a nice reaction off this ETH long idea. Be interesting to see how that plays out. ARB also had a relatively... Let me delete this. No, I was almost certain. Oh, maybe it was yeah, I think it was just it bounced right off the 618 on Bybit. It front ran it on Binance. But we had this impulse high come in, a nice bounce off the 618 on ARB. This is a range. I think two ideas would be like to come down and sweep these lows. If we break that down, it'd be interesting to sweep and reclaim these lows. Price gets drawn to the liquidity under these major lows. That's where people put their stops. That's where people like to short, is these big breakdowns. People like to long the breakouts. So price likes to target the liquidity above these defined highs and then fake them out. So short setups on rejections from things like that. Long setups from reclaims of pivot lows. Although these are just scalp ideas. I think on a higher time frame, we could imagine ARB. You know, if we start losing these highs, having a deeper retracement. High time frame ideas. Let me get rid of some of these brush marks. Obviously, a lot of price discovery to be done, but if we're holding these highs as new highs, and we kind of have this clean interaction with this idea of an ascending channel. So while it's still valid, I'd be interested in keeping it on my charts. And in the case, you know, whether we do or not, in the case that we get a clean interaction here at the golden pocket, this would be in about 4 days. A lot of charts have nice levels in about 4 or 5 days that are a lot deeper. Something like this would be an interesting idea if we saw maybe a range form here, get a nice sweep and along from a setup like this, around $1.39 on ARB. Not saying price will go down there, but certainly would like to have it marked out on my chart if it does. This is looking like a pretty clean rejection so far. Maybe we come up and retest the level. This coin looks kind of crazy. I'll say this, I would never short this coin. It doesn't look like it's on a lot of exchanges, but when you have these 1 hour wicks of 33%, you can just get your entire account liquidated, even if you have a stop. The structure here is very controlled. Like, look at these, look at how price descends, and like, these are just obviously some liquidity sweeps in there, but price is just being stepped down. What I would say is, considering how price is moving on something like this, I mean, it's a bit of a crapshoot because you have these massive wicks. Like, I don't know if these are appearing on every exchange. I can't really trade this coin because it's not on any exchange I trade on. Maybe like a break of this kind of forced down pressure as price is being stepped down in a clean channel could be interesting. Maybe a sweep of these lows into this descending structure. But yeah, this typically wouldn't be a coin I would trade. It's just these wicks are too volatile. Now I can't even remember if I just did a coin or if I just read it. Did I just do Cody? No. I'd like to see where the pivot low came in before the impulses. Ideal setups are, for me, always when ranges form. Those are chances to find your swing positions. We just had a big swing failure, taking the liquidity above this high. clean rejection. Front running a major fib. Might have offered a nice tight invalidation short there. So obviously price has been grinding up. A pretty relentless uptrend. Breaking some of that higher time frame uptrend structure. Let's look at it on a lower time frame. I do want to yeah, this is tough. I mean, I probably, if this live stream happened before this high was taken, I certainly would have been looking at this high as a major target for potential swing failure short. After such a heavy rejection, normally I'd be maybe interested in like a short on a retest, another sweep. Maybe we can tap this 786, take these highs as well with the rejection. But let's look at some higher time frame support ideas. Yeah, gotta love this. It's a long ways away. Just an alert there. Coming down, sweeping these lows, reclaiming them. That'd be an interesting long setup. Yeah, that's probably the only, taking these highs, taking these lows. The thing is with alts particularly, I like to trade the higher time frame stuff, set alerts, get into swing positions. I'm not typically going to scalp a bunch of different alts, trading low time frame setups. There's not a lot of structure here. I don't see any, we might form structure. A range could offer some long setups, but for now, I wouldn't personally be interested in trading anything here. So Theta, that's what we're on right now. Right at the 786, just a little beyond it, I suppose. Strong ascending structure. Lots of clean interaction off this trend line. Looks strong. Definitely not a big fan of longing breakouts. We have a front run key fib. Depending how price gets there, but it looks like a nice target to come up and take these highs. Might be an interesting short setup. There's not really any point in pulling a fib here before a defined high comes in. Yeah, I'd wait before I pulled support levels. I'd wait for a clear high to come in and a retracement. Obviously, always looking for just the key impulse lows to be swept, something like that. But that would require the uptrend structure here to break. But could fake out. Might be an interesting long. But taking these highs, it does certainly seem like price is heading that direction. All right. There is some construction going on nearby. All right, let's look at DOT. What would I have there? So an old Elliott wave count. DOT has certainly been lagging. Right at the GP. All right, well, certainly arguable that we're in this kind of descending structure here. Oops, this parallel structure. Certainly getting clean interactions on the parallel lines. Depending on when we push up to it, there is a 786 interaction with this descending structure. Let's let's go to a lower time frame just to get the yeah, I mean something like that could be interesting. Probably want to see this high taken, possibly for a short setup. Again, I wouldn't really pull too many fibs here until there's a defined rejection for support. This is DOT, by the way. I don't really like that there's not a lot of structure here. I guess this could be considered a swing failure retest as well if we push up a little through the 786. For a potential short setup. Sweeping these lows looks interesting for a long setup, depending on where our high comes in. If we do come into this area, we will have a GP there. It's around $6.03. Litecoin. Threatening a breakout and a swing failure. I'm actually kind of curious where the 382 is from this high. Interesting. I guess there could be a short idea up here on LTC. Come up and retest the highs where this impulse down started. There's a 786 there. There's maybe an ascending structure. On a lower time frame, we are sweeping these highs, rejecting, but still in an uptrend. A lot of these coins have really strong, clean trend line interactions. Long setups. Coming down. This would be a potential swing long idea. Any sweep of these lows could be nice, but you do want some, typically some fib interaction, because price does like to interact with those cleanly. Just curious if this is a clean ascending trend line. It's not perfect. Yeah, I mean, we're currently rejecting sweeping these highs, but we've kind of done that over and over again and just retraced. Actually kind of curious where each retracement's come down into. Actually, I'm just going to clean off this chart. So we impulsed, we came down perfectly to the 786. Just want to see where the series of fib retracements were. Impulse 786, impulse, golden pocket. You could say we front ran the golden pocket here. You could argue you could pull it from this impulse low, but I think that's a little speculative. Just trying to see what fibs the yeah, something like this might be an interesting long setup. Come and sweep these lows into this golden pocket. And you'll see this over and over again. Price likes to interact cleanly with these fibs. 786 is always great on alts, but the golden pocket's still noteworthy, especially when you have something like this where you have like impulse low to sweep. Grab that liquidity right into the key fib. Continue the uptrend. Something like this, even though we'd be breaking this uptrend structure, sweeping these lows, reclaiming them, could be interesting. You know, set alerts, wait. This is a wild coin. Looks. Well, it looks like some people just got faked out here. Also looks like our impulse low came in around the 786, not a perfect tap. Maybe some nice long setups with sweeps of these lows. I just look at this as range. Wait, let's trading the extremes of ranges, shorts at rejections from the highs, longs, key fibs, sweeps of lows. There's probably a setup here at the 786. You want to see a sign of strength. You want to see a bounce. You want to see a reclaim. Yeah. Yeah. An alt like this, I would just trade the extremes of the range. I'm sorry if I miss any of these. I'm trying to kind of blast through as many as I can in an hour. Alice is another coin that bounced perfectly off the 786 retracement. I'd say this is maybe a parallel structure. It's kind of more of it's a trend line. I mean, there are some parallel elements to this structure. Nice clean interaction in the middles of the channel. The lows and highs aren't perfect, but they're pretty close. Actually, I'm going to snap a ray to this and just get some precision here. Gonna have to zoom in on this to get it to snap. You could argue that we're reclaiming or retesting this level as well. This key horizontal area where we've had a support, rejection. You could argue that maybe a break of this trend line and a reclaim of these levels as support could be significant on a higher time frame. You know, my ideal scenario, if I was wanting longs on Alice, would be to have prepared the idea of sweeping this low into the 786 and longing a reclaim. That would have been a nice setup. Certainly a very clean uptrend here. Yeah, certainly went long here. I mean, we just wicked through this high. We're testing major resistance. Look at all that volume that came in there as well. Certainly a lot of people looking to trade that breakout. But not going so well for them, probably. Yeah, you know, for support ideas, I'm a sucker for fibs. High time frame ideas, just start breaking down this structure. Come down to some of these lows. Curious where the volume profile is here locally. The point of control. It aligns right under these lows as well. You know, you might also end up with some clean structure as well for an idea like that. Some newly formed structure. Something like this. Again, this is a high time frame idea. Let me go to the 1 hour chart. You know, if we reject here, not saying we will, but we could imagine some kind of, let's get rid of this so we can actually see the wick. Some kind of parallel structure forming on this time frame. We have a point of control here, key fib. This would be an interesting level to come and interact with. I mean, obviously price doesn't have to go straight there, but I think it's a worthy level to have marked. But I'd say this is really important resistance here. Certainly have a rejection on high volume as of now. We're also threatening a potential breakout of a major trend line. It'd be interesting if we wick through these highs at all. ETH is a nice reaction, but now we're kind of bouncing around this level. Be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, let's get a few more of these done. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sol come up and take these highs. Into this major golden pocket. Why am I doing? I do have an alert set there. We've kind of broken out of this high. We've retested it as support several times. I actually am interested in a short if we can come up and sweep this high and reject. Another retest of that level. I actually did short Sol on this sweep of this high, which ended up being a really nice trade. So I'm interested in that level again. Be patient, wait for that. Not really interested in shorting anything else. Coming down and sweeping these lows would be an interesting long idea. Sol actually did impulse 2 off of its here on the 4-hour local 786 as well to the dollar, to the penny. Always worth noting. Those nice 786 retracements. we have a request for Rune. I have old TA from probably 8-9 months ago, altcoin requests. This looks like we're at the GP, but this structure doesn't look particularly bearish locally. It's a pretty deep swing failure. Are we breaking out of this kind of descending structure? Locally, though, we do have a, we do have a well-defined high here that we are sweeping and rejecting. We have a local range. We actually swing failured and back tested that high perfectly on Rune. This being the high marked out way over here. So we swept it. We have a nice back test. Certainly wouldn't be looking for longs there personally. Not to say price can't go up, but I don't like longing resistance. The kind of curious where some of these probably something like this could be interesting if we do end up rejecting from here. Come down and sweep this low. Both of these lows would be of interest. Of course, there might be long setups like something like that. A lot of alts have had local retracements. We were talking about this in the Discord, probably like 15 alts I was looking at. Their local retracements were all golden pockets, right? From the impulse golden pocket. So those levels are still of interest, but if we break down and can take some of these lower pivots, that'd be kind of interesting for longs. I think these were better long setups, maybe sweeping these lows off these key fibs on the first touches. It'd be a little questionable on a fourth or fifth touch to long there. All right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin to wrap things up. I'm not particularly bearish on Bitcoin. I will say I did try a long scalp on this sweep on Monday, but we didn't get a lot of price action. I didn't long this scalp, and then I just said I was either waiting for lower or a reclaim of the range, which we did have a nice reclaim, but that was at around 1 in the morning for me, and I passed out in an absolute coma and didn't wake up for it. I'm not particularly bearish here. I think the interesting ideas on Bitcoin, we are coming off big bullish divs. That's why I was looking for bullish divergences in CVD, that is. I was looking for longs. I was interested in longs. But you know, coming down and retesting this level would be interesting. We do have a fib there as well. But I wouldn't be surprised to see us at least take the liquidity above this high in the context of this range, or this high. Those could be short setups, but I'm probably leaning towards, on a higher time frame, us seeing higher, but interested in looking for longs down at support in the context of this range. I have swing longs, so I'm looking at adding to longs if those ideas can hold up. But hedging short at key resistance. Always willing to short key levels if there's weakness. I did take a short on Bitcoin on the sweep of this high rejection. I took it more aggressively, but we've been holding this level as resistance. I did take some profits off of it when we reclaimed this range. But anyways, we're just watching this as a range. We have a major high at 32,300. That'll be an interesting level to watch how price interacts with that. Do we break out? I will say on a higher time frame. I've covered Bitcoin actually so many times in different live streams that none of these ideas are going to be new, and you could probably just go back and watch some of those. But if we do claim this level, just worth noting, we have barely any structural resistance, and it would not be, I'm not saying go straight there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see us hit 50K. But we have to claim those levels. If we're rejecting there, certainly could see us just continue on in a range. Come take these lows, that'd be interesting. Take these lows, that'd be very interesting. I am watching some ideas on the S&P and DXY as confluence. I'm curious if we can get these levels on the S&P. That probably would coincide with a Bitcoin 50K at this point. DXY, there's some nice support levels, although they're not that far away, around $98, $98. Holy shit. Dude, there's like 100 comments in here. I just love that. Wow, thanks for the ignore, mate. I just went through like 20 coins trying to wrap this up in an hour. I just don't like that kind of attitude, honestly. It certainly doesn't make me want to analyze your coin. All right. Anyways, I will say there's bullish absorption forming on ETH and Bitcoin. ETH is, of course, still in a range. Range lows, range highs are interesting. Yes, I did take an ad here off bullish absorption. You know, this isn't an incredible reaction that we're getting here, but certainly some reaction. I wouldn't be surprised to get stopped out of this position, but if we do break down, I'd be interested in longing a sweep of these lows and a reclaim. Just trading this as a range. I will do link actually, because I think I saw that several times and didn't do it. And I think I actually got some requests for it in the members Discord as well. Well, clearly a range. Really don't think it's worth looking at any levels outside of this range. Well, it's this well defined. Do we make a new low? Look at these like slight front runs of the highs. I mean, I'm going to be shocked. We're in an ascending structure here. I'd be shocked if we don't take these highs at some point. At least to fake them out. But we do have an ascending structure here. But this is also a well-defined trend line. I mean, I'm kind of curious what the low time frame price action looks like. If there was an opportunity to scalp an entry, could maybe have just traded this 15-minute range, scalping shorts on these sweeps. Yeah, hard to say. I mean, links in a range, all the levels to trade are very easy in terms of you just take, I mean, on a higher time frame. No structure here. Like a sign of weakness would be to actually come down and take back our swing failure this high, come back below it. We have a reaction, obviously still a strong impulse. You know, maybe could try to look for some scalp shorts up here, but in the event that this structure plays out, but probably better shorts, more confluence to take. I'd set an alert here. I mean, coming and taking these impulse lows into the golden pocket could be a nice long setup. Sometimes you just get reminded of these a few weeks later, right? You've set an alert, you kind of have an idea. Break down, take the lows of this impulse. That'd be an interesting long. All right, the guy was just joking. Sorry about that. If I got triggered. All right, I am gonna wrap up the live stream. There's a chance if you came in late, I covered your coin early, or but yeah, I was just trying to knock out as much as I could in an hour here, and this ascending structure does look interesting for sure on link though. I'm getting carpal tunnel in my wrist, I think, from all this charting. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, maybe if some of these alerts go off and I'm available, I'll update some of these ideas in the Discord if some of these levels get hit that I think are interesting. But